Alright guys, I know it's been a while, but I thought I'd make a little update video. So I'm back in the garage uh, for the past few days. So obviously, as you guys probably all know, the coronavirus outbreak and everything just meant I haven't been able to put any miles on the bike, the Bandit or the RGV. But basically, I've been doing some work, so I'll just show you what I've been doing. So these were the original RGV VJ22M panels that came from the parts back in Pakistan. So that left side was fine. The right side, it was very sun bleached because obviously the bike sits on its left, so the left side is somewhat protected, and it had a huge crack over here, so it went through that hole, kind of up this way, and then down this way as well. So it literally, this whole triangle piece was going to snap off, and potentially up to here, the crack was going to run to eventually. So basically, I used some Q-bond on that. This stuff here, it's pretty good, and sort of fixed that up, patched it up, filled it with some bumper filler, and wet sanded it. It still needs a little bit over here. There's a little bit of a high spot. I did the same on this as well. There were a few cracks at the top. The logs over here, I used a Dremel tool and opened up the cracks. Those two cracks were going to meet eventually. I filled those with Q-bond. That was pretty good. And I did the same to some logs on here and filled a couple little spots. So the plan is, obviously, I got this nice VJ22M tail, which looks almost perfect apart from a little scrape there on the decal. That was on one side, and then the other side had that one, that little panel on it. But you know, I was thinking of getting that side and the middle panel sprayed black to match that, but to get the right color match would have been really difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'll fix this panel, and then I'm going to spray this and that in the same color as that, and get some decals made up. Then I might sell this, you know, that way I'll have a better color match. So that's what I've been doing in here. Apart from that, I got the RS250 nose off as well. So my dad had a bit of an accident last year involving the 7 Series, but basically a couple of lugs needed Q-bond on that as well, and it's got a new fairing bracket, but the bike's under the cover, so I haven't gotten a chance to put that back on. Another couple of things is the bike is around the back of my house right now because it needs a few things doing to it. So let me just bring you close to it. Basically, so as you can see, I got the rear subframe off because I was basically just test fitting those panels on here, and I was also trying to potentially mock up to make a little under tray, because as you can see over here, although it's got a hugger, there's a lot of dust and road salt and stuff. I don't know how it makes its way past the hugger, but it just does. And all these wires in here, as you can see, they're just covered in crud. So I'm trying to think about making a little under tray that goes from about here down under the battery tray, or possibly over here. The thing is, it has to miss the hugger completely as well, otherwise you might crack the hugger. But yeah, I'm trying to do that. Also, I feel like maybe the suspension preload is set too low, so I might say a bit higher on that YSS shock, because I noticed I had a little clip over here on the brake hose, and as the suspension went up and down, that would get bent downwards because it would touch the bottom of this oil tank here. So that's not good. So I've just removed that completely. I might do something about that. I need to replace all these rusty ass bolts here. Sorry, washers and nuts. Nuts and bolts and washers, everything's just a bit rusty and looking a bit knackered, especially around the back. I've washed it a couple of times, but I rode it first time in January, so like there was just a bunch of road salt and stuff. So bit by bit I'm replacing what I can. I've got the domino grips on now, those look nice. Basically I replaced those top yoke pinch bolts, which were really knackered. There's a couple clips here, but I'm planning on replacing all of this with a Brembo radial master cylinder I picked up for pretty cheap. And yeah, so just going to replace that with a radial master cylinder. I was thinking about Brembo calipers as well rather than the Nissins, but the ones I picked up aren't in great condition, so I'll just keep the Nissins. But as you've probably noticed, fork seal. So this is the right hand fork. This is the one that I hadn't rebuilt. I used a bit of seal mate on it, hoping it would be fine, but evidently it's not. It just leaks a shitload, even when standing still. So I brought the bike back here. I'm trying to figure out a way I can mock it up, probably on the front. I'll get the front on paddock stand first, and the back, then prop up the cradle with some bricks or something so that I can drop the fork out, but it's looking a bit sketchy. But that's what I'm going to do. Another topic of this video is, I don't know if you guys have used Suzuki Vintage Part Scheme or not, but I've been using them for a couple of things which I couldn't find anywhere else, and I've been just really disappointed. So one example of that is this little rubber grommet. So this is an original part. You can see it's a bit cracked and crazed, but I just needed the other side because I only had one side and the other side was missing. So even for a 30-year-old part, from far away it looks alright, you know, it's nice and smooth. And I ordered one for £6 from Suzuki Vintage Part Scheme, and look at that, that just looks completely different. That looks like a cheap pattern part in comparison. So the surface is very sort of rough in comparison to that one, and there's still like flashing attached to the side of it up the top here. It's like it's a cheap pattern replacement and not an original. And also probably the best place to show it is on the panel, the little fairing nut that goes and attaches the two middle fairings on it. So let's see if it's going to focus. But basically you can see, just about see in this picture, is that it's got a couple of huge gouges on it, and it looks like it's, yeah, there we go, if it can focus. Yeah, so that is a brand new part from Suzuki Vintage Part Scheme, and it's the same with that one as well. Look at that. It's obviously from the when they bent it over, but surely like that can't run as a brand new part. I mean, that's just not on. Like, why would I spend money buying an original that looks like that when I can just get my old one, sandblast it, and it doesn't have those marks. Let me see, I put it somewhere here, maybe I put it away, but yeah, it's rusty, but I can sandblast it and get it powder coated along with a bunch of other stuff, and it will look better than what I can get brand new. So it doesn't really make sense. But basically I wanted to also prop you guys up and do a little cold start for you, just so you can have a look, because I haven't done it before. I've just had a video of the bike running already. So let me prop you up here. There we go, that's a nice angle. Let me go get the keys. On, show control. Paddock stands are a bit dodgy. Hopefully it doesn't fall over. Oh, this is too dodgy. Let me just see if I can get it off the paddock stand. Hold on. These paddock stands are shit. few parts I want to replace. So the chain adjusters are rusting. I might take those off, sand them down, and then clear coat them. These parts start rusting as well, but I've got some I might have a parts bike coming in for all these little things. I want to get rid of those anodized bolts at the front, just some standard ones. What else? Need to get a replacement clutch lever, probably stock or maybe black to match the radial master cylinder one. That's the dash. The discs are holding up fine as well. They were a bit rusty the other day because I hadn't road ridden. Usually it's the left one, as you can see, that rusts. Everything that's leant over on the left side seems to suffer more. The fairing's a bit tatty, as you can see, but you know, it's not bothering me yet. Once I get the tail resprayed, if he does a good job, I might strip the panels and send them to him to get them all resprayed. This is vinyl wrapped by myself. Not too great. Actually, it looked nice, but once it was in the sun, I don't know, it sort of relaxed the vinyl, and now it's that feeling a bit from the edges. But yeah. So it's still not up to 10. It's going to take a while. I'll put you back on the stand when it's ready and when it's warm, and we'll rev it up a bit. Another worrying thing I've noticed is that it vibrates a lot, and subsequently I've lost quite a few bolts since I last checked. So basically I lost a bolt that goes up under that light, so you get two that are held in with the fairing and one that goes through that under tray panel. That's just flung off at some point. I lost completely the left side foot peg hanger. Even though it didn't have a foot peg on it, it was just like a cover for the key mechanism, and that flew off on the first ride. And that was 2 bolts, and that flew off. So I put lock nuts on the replacement one of that. I'm probably going to put lock nuts on a lot of things. The one that the lower bolt that holds the power valve controller, that flew off, and I just recently saw that. So I put a new bolt on the new nut through there. Worryingly, the subframe bolts before that bolt there, they were loose the last time I checked. So I don't know whether there's a few things, because the subframe, the shop, I feel like it's traveling quite a lot because of that little brake clip that I was talking about, and also it once happened that the paddock stand bobbin that was on there, it touched the bottom of the exhaust can. so I might need to turn the preload up. That might have something to do with it, maybe with the bouncy ride, which is loosening up those subframe bolts. Apart from that, I think everything at the front is fine. It's usually on the seat unit where I'm seeing little nuts and bolts go missing. I don't know if that's common, hopefully not, but yeah, I'm replacing them as we go along, and I'm checking them frequently. Let's see if we're up to temp. We're getting up to temperature now, so about there. That's it for today. Don't really like running her up on idle and then just not riding it. Depresses me a bit, but yeah, it needs the fork seal doing before I can actually ride it. And apart from that, I'd rather get the brake master cylinder done and just, you know. Oh, another thing. This eyesore, that is the Yamaha Phaser tank pad, this is going. So I'm experimenting with a bit of carbon fiber. So on the rusty tank that I had, I made like a fiberglass form of this section of the tank and also the side sections on both sides, and I'm using that to make a carbon fiber tank protector. So I've laid up the first 2 coats of carbon, and I need to sand that back and then put a final presentation layer, and then put some resin on it, and wet sand, clear coat, and then wet sand it. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hope you liked the startup and just a little quick run, but yeah, hopefully once the lockdown is finished we'll get some riding videos in.